And this is how you can tell where you are in this, okay? One good way of saying this is position says because I said so. Like, I'm asking you to do this because I am in charge, because of the title. That's position. It's related to titles. The next is that permission level where you're earning the right to be heard by building this relationship and finding out what's important to them, what matters to them, what they're trying to accomplish.
Everything you said there, you need to care about their families, their teams, what they want. And that is the crucial part to going to that next level of leadership.
Yeah.
It's about them. And when you can really understand that and let that go and put them first, that's when you start to become that next level of leader.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to the Life Insurance Academy podcast. You are in for a treat. It is Chris Ball and Zach McAway, and we are tag teaming. We're going the low.
Well, I couldn't reach up high.
Reaching across
it was a far stretch.
The ropes. Did you ever watch tag team wrestling when you were a kid?
Well, of course.
Of course.
Well, it wasn't just tag team. It was, WWE, WWF.
There was nothing more.
Funny story about that.
Go ahead.
I got to.
Yeah.
So one of my best friends that I'd go hang out at his house when we were young playing basketball. But when we weren't playing basketball, man, he was one of them kids that had everything.
Oh, okay.
And,
Nintendo and everything.
Dude, he literally had like pillow size. They're probably about 2-3 foot tall of all the wrestlers. And they had arms, they had legs and everything. So did I not only watch it, man, I was choke salmon these little these dolls. They were, they're wrestlers about 2 to 3 foot tall, and they had the muscles and everything. And I was winning all the matches.
I bet you were, dude. I bet you were. And do you know what it takes to be successful in WWE/WWF/WCW tag team wrestling?
Marketing?
Leadership, Zach.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. Did you like that segue? It's like
it was perfect.
I want to see somebody body slammed on here, by the way, during this.
Go
podcast.
Put your arm in the air like Kane and go ahead and choke somebody, and Adam will put them through the table.
Trying to reach.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Choke slam through a table with authority.
So we're talking about leadership.
I'll tell you, Chris, this is a topic that is so important, and it's been far overdue. Me and you both have been at a bunch of different these levels we've discussed, and we've learned a lot. I've learned so much from you. It's been ridiculous. But
goes both ways.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But the leadership topic is not talked about hardly anywhere, and it's the biggest thing that's lacking in this industry.
Yeah.
There's the idea of downlines, hierarchies on my team, but none of that is true leadership.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like sometimes you're kind of thrown into that. You're kind of thrown into this thing of leadership. And we've had conversations. We have a lot of conversations in the office about this. One of the great resources out there that I would highly recommend if you haven't read this book, it's called The 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell.
If you haven't read it, read it again.
Yeah, and again, if you have read it, yes, multiple times.
And we'll refer to this at the end, but you have to be self-aware and honest and transparent, not with anybody else, with yourself on what level you truly are at.
Right. And I think it kind of comes down to, before we get into these levels and where you are, I think a good evaluation point is determining what is your motivation. What is your motivation in your business? And I know that there are people who are driven to make a lot of money, and that's fine. You just have to determine what is happening behind you.
What are you willing to do to accomplish that?
Yes, yeah. What are you willing to do to accomplish that? And this is one thing that's true. If you have big goals and big dreams, it's going to take more than you to accomplish that. That's a fact.
Yeah, name one person that's successful that doesn't have leadership qualities or didn't use their leadership ability to get where they're at.
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. And then you have this other side of the conversation where, with Zig Ziglar, and he says, if you help, you will get what you want. If you help enough people get what they want. There's that mindset in helping
We say it
people.
again. That's one of the truest things that you could hear on this podcast.
You will get what you want if you help enough people get what they want.
That is so backwards in most people's minds that are trying to do leadership and that are stuck and frustrated right now.
Yeah.
Because they are chasing their dream and trying to get other people to help them reach their dream.
Yeah, and it's almost at the cost
Exactly.
of the people that they're working
work.
with. Right. So let's dive in and talk about these and break these down a little bit, okay? And we'll talk about these different levels. And you can, as we're talking about this, you can identify and determine where you are. Almost like this is where you are in the mall.
It's a self-evaluation test.
Yeah. And maybe you're driving, whatever it is. Just take a second and think through this. The number one level of leadership is position.
Now, are you talking about when everybody's sitting at the dinner table and you stand up to make a toast?
It's almost like that, I guess. I do have, this is funny, a lot of people, this is a special treat for you. I do have the perceived rules of leadership.
Yeah, these are
my
great.
made up ones. And here's one for you. I'll give you a free one. When everybody's standing, you sit and then say something. Or when everybody's sitting, you stand and say something.
Yeah.
That's the person who's in charge. That's perceived leadership. But
I got one too.
Oh,
If
okay.
I add to
Yeah,
that.
let's
The
hear
other
this.
one is whenever somebody else says something really smart, you just repeat it with a little bit more authority in your voice and act
Ooh,
like you've never
that's
heard it in your
good.
life.
That's really good. Here's another one. Tell somebody to do what they're already doing.
Oh, dude,
Okay.
I love
Zach,
that.
Yeah, Zach, play with that microphone. If you could just, yeah, there you go. You're doing a great job, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
But we're talking about, we're digressing, but we're talking about position, and that's kind of like, that's what that is. It's
Yeah.
the perception of leadership because you have a title. Ultimately, that's what position is.
You have been summoned to an opportunity
Mhm.
because you're not really going to get that position just handed to you. It may feel that way, but you've shown some potential in someone's eyes
Right.
in order to be in that position
Right.
or the opportunity to have that position.
And you might be in these five spaces depending on the relationship that you have. So an example would be you're an upline manager and you have somebody who's on your team and they just hired somebody and they're looking at you positionally at that point because you have a title.
Mhm.
That's it. It is basically title run leadership. And title run leadership doesn't really transition somebody. It doesn't move somebody. It doesn't inspire somebody. It's just the nature of it. Position. That's all it is. The next level is permission. Permission.
Permission. What do you mean by that?
And this one is more relationship based. We talk about this in sales in regards to building trust, and we
Mhm.
talk about in the sense of empathy and authority, right? So this
So
first
it's
piece is
really-
really empathy driven.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's really the permission. You have the permission to speak into someone's life. You have
Correct.
permission. And it comes with a slight, I say a slight, but a slight ability of respect.
Mhm.
Like you have that respect slightly at this point, and somebody that you can genuinely is trying to help you.
Yeah.
You can talk
Yeah.
to them. You can develop that friendship, that relationship, and some of you guys out there right now in the field or working or maybe are a positional leadership, you can feel this transition as you're developing the relationships with your people. You could start to feel that permission leadership starting to come alongside, and you may know or can think of somebody. I know we can all think of somebody who is a really cool person. They're really good friends with, and they're a leader in the sense of permission.
Yeah. And this is how you can tell where you are in this, okay? One good way of saying this is production says because I said so. Or I'm sorry. Ooh, rewind that. Position says because I said so. Like, I'm asking you to do this because I am in charge.
You should do it for me.
Yeah, yeah. And
Don't you care about me?
Not me because of the title. Because of the title. That's position. It's related to titles. So if I just say to my kids, hey, it's because I said so, because I'm the dad. Wait a second. No, because I'm the dad and you're the kid, you should do this. That is not going to end well. That's not going to happen. Same thing for you as a father. The next is that permission level where you're earning the right to be heard by building this relationship and finding out what's important to them, what matters to them, what they're trying to accomplish. And you've earned that credibility because of an empathy piece, because you understand
Which means you have to care about them.
You have to. Yes, you have to. You have to care about your team, their needs, what they're trying to accomplish, who they are, their families, all those types of things. So that
let me emphasize that one more time. Everything you said there, you need to care about their families, their teams, what they want. And that is the crucial part to going to that next level of leadership. It's not what you want them to want, what you want them to produce, what you want them to be motivated for or care about.
Yeah.
It's about them. And when you can really understand that and let that go and put them first, that's when you start to become that next level of leader.
Yeah. So you see on this front side, you have position, and you'll always start there when anybody new enters your organization. You start to build that credibility with them on an empathy level as a human being under that permission. And then that next piece is production. It's production. And it does speak to credibility as you as a leader, right? That you can produce, you have a track record of production, and there's a level of trust that's built that you can show them how to produce to that level.
So basically, this dude over here is an absolute rock star in insurance. I want to work on him. I want to be on his team. I want to learn from him. You know, I want him to be my leader because he writes more than anybody else, and I want to be associated with that. Is that basically what you...
Yeah. There's a level of that for sure.
Yeah.
So this production level is the credibility that you do take action. And really, it's more about your consistent work effort, ethics, work effort that you're putting into your work that they can see and model and do the same thing. That's an important part of this.
Yeah. And Chris, before we go to the next level, I would go out on a limb and say that most people in the insurance space, either life or health, this is where a lot of people kind of cap out. This is their potential. They have an opportunity to have a position. They become friends with some of the people that they're working with, or people like them, or they're just very likable. Eventually, if you stick around here long enough, you're going to start figuring some things out. You get that spark of motivation. You become a top producer. People respect you for your numbers, and you'll attract more people there.
Right.
But these next two levels is really what separates the people. This, in my opinion, Chris, this is that hump. This is that heel that you want to get over in order to really be able to achieve your goals. This is the people that are going from small teams or teams that aren't actively growing or have momentum in the growing phase. You can achieve these first three levels by hard work and focus.
Yeah.
I don't think you can achieve these next two levels without a level of self-awareness and taking a real interest in investing in your own self-development.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. And this next piece is people development. That is the rolling up your sleeves and getting into conversations and helping people transition, have a bigger vision for their lives. You know, I say it in terms of you've earned the right to be heard, and then you're just moving their shoulders a little bit in the right direction. But you can't have that kind of contact unless you know, one, the right direction, and two, you have that relationship.
Yeah, that's why it's levels, right?
Right.
Because you can't just say, oh, well, I'm not really good at level 2, permission, but I'm a really good level 4 leader. It's one at a time. Like you can't. They pile on top of each other, and you gain those skills as you're moving through it. This one's crucial, because if you don't have that desire and that genuineness inside of your heart to care what they want, to meet them where they're at and help them get where they want to go, then you really can't achieve level 4 of this leadership.
And the thing that you said at the beginning of this is developers develop.
Mm-hmm.
People who are developing other people are people who've done the work themselves.
Yep.
They're reading, they're connected to networks of people who are farther down the road than they are. You said this very well. You said that they, I'm trying to think of how you said it.
I must have said it really well.
Dude, it was phenomenal and it was beautiful. But there's really a removal of ego and insecurity.
Yeah.
Like you have to remove those pieces because you're asking other people to speak into your life to be able to speak into other people's lives.
Yep.
And I think this level can be a little scary to some people because if you are a positional leader, you don't want people to get better than you.
You know it all.
You know it all. You are the answer person. And it's hard for you to push people ahead of you to win. And that's a big part of people development. It's not keeping people behind you. That's the trick. And the goal here, this levels of leadership, is to develop what? Other leaders.
Correct.
That is the point, is to duplicate your leadership efforts. And you have to push people ahead of you in order to be able to do that.
And I will say this, the people development stage is one of the most rewarding to me, in my opinion, because you're actually able to see transformation in people's lives. You can see someone's life's vision change and light up beyond what they've ever thought they could accomplish. And that is so cool to see, man. That's like my passion. And I'm a natural coach at heart, I'm big in sports. I want people to win, and seeing that is the biggest thing. But just like you said there, in a positional leadership, even a permission leadership, production, any of those, you can't develop somebody to a level of leadership that you have not achieved yet. So if you're not willing to develop yourself, then you can't people develop other people. It's impossible. If you're a positional leader, you can't help somebody become above a positional leader. If you're a production leader, you can't make somebody, you can teach somebody how to sell a ton of insurance, but you will not be able to help them to move to the next stage because you're their ceiling. And that, you know, that's always been a thing for me, is the moment you feel like you know it all is the moment you've tapped out and you've hit your ceiling.
The very last one is pinnacle leader. And this is the top level of leadership where you are doing what you want represented. And that's an important point. Like if you walk away with anything, is your activity, the way you think, your mindset, your emotional intelligence, is that what you want duplicated at this moment, at this very moment?
Yeah, that's essentially creating other level 4 leaders.
Right. And moving towards level 5. So here's an example of that. Okay. I think I was a youth pastor for years, and I would, I'm a jokester. Okay. I like to have a good time and just joking around. I'd have kids in my car and we would do goofy things and mess with people at the drive-in or drive-through, getting food.
Oh, you got to give me an example.
I don't know, man. Use goofy voices, just act like the drive-through's cutting out and you're saying words, I'll have like large fry or something like that. And you've seen me do it, I think. Anyway.
I can imagine.
And I would do these things, and then my students brought me this video of them doing this at the drive-through.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys look like such jerks,
But you didn't.
No, I wasn't a jerk. I wasn't a jerk. The reason I'm sharing that is like that issue of this self-awareness of, hey, yeah, man, duplicate me. But would you really want that duplicated? That's the question.
Yeah.
So in your activity, the way you're running your business, like the only way to achieve great things is to have other people do it with you. If you're a lone wolf, I don't know what your big goals or your big dreams are.
Well, you can never be past to level 3.
Yeah, it's
if
very
you
difficult.
get there. I mean, that you may have 3 people, but you're a super big producer.
Yeah.
But that's all you're going to ever achieve. And one thing I'll say is these 5 little levels of leadership are so true. And we're not going to read you the entire book. That's for you all to check out. But with all of this, there is such thing as a good leader and a bad leader.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at people development, that is a very, very sensitive stage because, yeah, you can be a positional leader. You can have a relationship with somebody. You can teach them how to sell and be a good production. But once you get to that level 4, that level 4 could go good or bad. That level 4 could be, your people developing in them into bad habits, to bad leadership styles, to different types of
shortcuts
or control or sense like that.
Manipulating of people.
Exactly. And that's where it can change a situation or leverage things. And it can be very healthy or unhealthy at this level. And that's where it becomes so important that for you to be the best level 4 and level 5 leader, you need level 4 and level 5 leaders pouring into you with the correct morals and the correct character, doing the right things. Like if you are the guy that knows it all, you don't have that influence. I was talking to a couple people recently, and a couple things that I have learned as me going through some of these levels, even when I was in the field with a team. And one of the biggest things for me personally was understanding that we can't, a couple things. One, you can't push a rope, right? You can't push a rope, and you can't make somebody want something.
Yeah.
You need to find the heart of the matter to help them to figure out where their motivation is and help them accomplish what they want. You have to know what they want as a leader in order to do that. But the other biggest thing that I have learned in my leadership journey would be, and this is human nature. This is Adam over here, right? This is you. This is everybody, right? This is nobody wants to be controlled.
Right.
Nobody. And I mean, you listen to this call right now. You don't want somebody telling you what to do. You don't want to be controlled either. So why are you trying to control somebody else? And what I mean by that is when you're growing up, when you're leading people and you found a way, you've taken your bruises, your goal as a leader is you may truly want them to be successful and to move through and learn how to sell and not have to go through all the bumps and bruises you did in order to get this level. But at the same time, you can't just tell them to do it that way, right? It doesn't work like that. The whole goal behind it is to you as the leader to serve them, figure out what they need, how you can help, what do they need from you this week, how can you serve them? The leader is supposed to serve his people, not the people serve the leader.
Right.
And
very good.
That has been a huge mindset shift to help you create a better environment, a better culture, and to be able to move up through that leadership and grow as a person. That you don't have the answers. But even though your intentions as a leader may be good, you may be saying the right things, it's not about your intentions and it's not how you say things. It's how your team or your people that you care about receive them.
100%.
That has been a huge eye-opener for me. And I'll tell you that used to be a problem. I used a problem I faced was, I know this is better for them. This is the way they need to do it. And that doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Even though my intentions were good, even though I wanted them to succeed this way, even though I was trying to help them, it's not what my intentions are. It's how they perceive what I'm telling them to do. Because the moment somebody tells you to do it that way, you kind of would rather do it the opposite way.
Right.
We're all that way.
Yeah.
We're all human nature. We all want to have the freedom. And if you can understand to give them the freedom to succeed and to fail, but let them know you're with them, to hold their hand and pick them up every single time they fall and help them through the entire journey, all they need is that confidence and that partnership to move along with you. Yeah.
And the ability to replicate that and do that for their team as well. And maybe you're in this and you're saying, hey, man, I'm not a leader. If you're a parent, you're a leader. You know, if you're married, I don't care which side, you're a leader. Like,
if anybody ever comes to you with a question,
you're a leader.
You're a leader.
Right. So the question is, who's behind you and how are you leading them? And this business, I'll tell you what, the thing I love about it is it gives you an opportunity to grow like nothing else. And if you're in here and you're like, man, maybe I do need to start looking at this leadership for myself, hey, pick up the book. You can reach out to us. You can check us out at lifeinsuranceacademy.org. We'd love to talk with you in regards to that. But thank you guys so much for listening, and we look forward to connecting with you on the next Life Insurance Academy podcast. See you then.